Hi, I'm Kristen White, and I invite you to join me each week as I interview experts who talk about the things that matter to you here on The Ripple Effect. Hi everyone, I'm Kristen White. You know, there's a world of good news out there. In Chesapeake Bay, good news for seafood lovers. Oysters are bountiful this year. Oystermen on Chesapeake Bay began to experience the best year in decades, with officials estimating the harvest to be double over last year. This bumper crop will slash prices on oysters by as much as 50%. But I have to admit, it is an acquired taste. In Arizona, imagine walking up to the pharmacist and requesting a box of chocolates to treat your illness. Chocolate medicine? Well, that sounds good to me. We traveled to Sedona to meet a man nicknamed Kelly Wonka. He's a chocolatier who uses raw cacao and other living ingredients to create mouth-watering wellness treats.
For many, this is a sacred place, a place where some say a concentrated source of energy flows. It's a place to heal and to cleanse one's soul.
It's a spiritual sanctuary created to nurture authenticity.
Sedona, Arizona.
And we also serve food and chocolates.
And the Chocolaterie, a vegetarian restaurant where chocolate is made with love.
Love stands for live, organic, vegan euphoria.
Our chocolates are entirely raw, live, organic, stone ground, heirloom Criollo cacao, coming straight from Ecuador, where we have relationships with the farmers.
Isn't that beautiful?
Chocolaterie moved into this location a little more than 8 years ago, and since then they've really grown. Every month they produce 40,000 individual handmade pieces of chocolate. There's over 1,000 recipes, and they supply to over 500 locations.
As far as I know, we're one of the largest, if not the largest, raw chocolate producing facility in the world.
And the chocolate that is made here is much different than the chocolate found on most grocery shelves.
This is pure 100% raw cacao beans that are ground.
Cacao is the original name for chocolate. It's the pure cacao mass. It's the bean.
So there we go, we're pretty good.
Most other things out there are not really cacao anymore. They've been adulterated and processed to the point where there's very little nutrient value left. So all of that hype around chocolate being not good for you is most of the time true.
Not only is this chocolate good for your health, it's also good for the soul.
It just gave me a really strong feeling of euphoria.
Not just the chocolate they're eating anymore, it's an entire uplifting experience that literally grooves and transforms their lives.
It's common sense. It just feels better when you're eating food that's, free of chemicals and preservatives and all kinds of nasty ingredients,
Vegan or not, the experience at the Chocolaterie is simply delicious.
Made with love is the most important.
Reporting for The Ripple Effect, I'm Kristen White.
You know, I love this chocolate restaurant. It was truly difficult to pick just one. There's a world of good news out there. I'm Kristen White. Let's start a ripple. Meet your angels and guides with spiritual teacher, Sunny Dawn Johnson. Well, we all have heard about guardian angels, and perhaps we even feel like we have one in our own lives. Well, my guest today is Sunny Dawn Johnson, and she has written a book on invoking the archangels. Sunny, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what role do angels play in our lives?
Well, there are guardians, there are guides. They really just make life, first of all, more fun, I think.
Yeah.
But they give us the guidance and direction as we're kind of moving through all this human stuff.
You know, we see in our culture, pictures of giant wings, and they're on Christmas trees. But what do angels look like?
Well, my first experience, I was 13 years old, and I woke up in the middle of the night to this beautiful, winged, colorful being that looked like the images that we see. And I'd never really experienced angels before. So they can come to you in that form, but they also, for me, they come as just an energy, just a light energy. A lot of people will feel them, some will see them, some hear, but in the visual form, they can come as that winged being, but they also oftentimes just come as an energy.
Well, tell us a little bit about the book. I mean, I love it, Invoking the Archangels.
Yes, Invoking the Archangels is the title of the book, and it is, it's my personal journey from the beginning, 13 years old, where I had that first angel experience and never even had the idea that they even existed. And then through that journey and how they would show up in my life at different times, and I had these amazing miracles happen in my life that really, one, was life-saving, and so I'm sharing for people to be able to find their own journey and their own way and give them some tools so they don't have to keep hitting their head against the wall like I did for so many years in denial of it, you know?
So when that first angel showed up, you're 13 years old, you see this glowing being in your room. I mean, what was your thought?
You know what? the thing that was bigger than what I saw was what I felt.
Right.
And what I felt was this calm, quiet, gentle peace. And I had never felt that in my life. And so I literally rolled over and went back to sleep. And it was when I woke up in the morning and I thought, okay, wait a minute, that was not normal.
What was that?
And I went downstairs and I told my mom what I had experienced, and she said, well, Sonny, that was your guardian angel. And she went on to tell me that 2 hours earlier, she had been in my room. And she'd actually prayed over me and asked for God and the angels to surround me because she was concerned about my mental and emotional state of being. And 2 hours later, I awoke to the manifestation of her prayer, really.
Let's say someone is watching and they're going through a crisis in their life right now. What would be the first step they could take to connect to their angels in the way that you're talking about?
Ask. First step, ask. I did a little, in the book, I've got a little 4-step process. Ask, allow, believe, receive.
Okay.
The first step is ask. You just, and people say, well, how do you do that? I'm just like this, you know, hey guys, help. and I do, that's my conversation, and it's a conversation I'm always having, so it's so natural to me that I don't even think about the fact that it's just like talking right now to you.
Right.
You know, hey, help me, or hey guys, or Michael, or whoever you want to call on, and if you don't know, if you're like, this is all new to me, then angels, please help me, please guide me, please give me a sign. But you don't get to tell them what sign and what time.
Yeah,
right?
give me a sign at 12:15.
Right, I would like it with a feather dropping in front of me while I'm driving down the road. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So we have to be present, and I think that's one of the things people have a challenge with is we have to be present in this moment because Spirit is speaking to you now, not in 10 minutes,
Right.
not 10 minutes ago.
So it looks like you have some fun stuff here. Show us these cards.
So these cards are actually cards that we created. So there's each one of the different archangels, and then there's also the 9-step process that I created to heal your heart. But I discovered that I had a process that I personally walked through in my own healing, and that when I worked with clients over the years, I've walked them through this same process. So then there's the 9-step process, and there's a card for each one of the steps as well.
So what's possible when you live your life with your angels?
Wow, anything is possible. You know, my life is 180 degrees from where it was when this first started happening. You know, at the time that I started experiencing the angels, and especially Archangel Raphael, I was a single teenage mother living on welfare and food stamps, in a shack, sleeping on the floor, with no bed, no crib for my son, and have moved from listening to the guidance. And the biggest thing with the angels was they taught me how to love myself. They taught me that I deserved to be loved and feel that unconditional love and then share it with others. So from that place that I began, and embracing this energy has really allowed me to not only expand, but to grow to a place of self-love. And having that value and esteem within me. So I think that in that process, anything can happen. Because if you would have seen me at 18, 19, you wouldn't recognize me as the woman that I am today, because I allowed that love to come in. And that was the greatest gift.
So any person who's out there, no matter where they're at in their life, do you believe that their lives can be enriched bigger by working with the angels?
Absolutely. And if they want to. And I think that's important. If people are like, oh, I don't know about this, then I'd say don't. Follow your own guidance. But yes, I think that if people feel connected to, aligned with the angelic energy, then it can only be positive for you, right?
Awesome. Sunny Dawn Johnson, thank you so much for being here with us on the show today.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Coming up next is Dr. Julianne Blake. She was diagnosed with MS more than 20 years ago, and now she's a best-selling author and the creator of the program Choose Joy Anyway. It teaches people how to release pain, tame stress, and make dreams come back to life.
Hi, I'm Kristen White, host of The Ripple Effect. If you enjoy the interviews on the show, well, I have good news for you. You can learn more from these amazing experts who appeared on the show. All you need to do is go to the website, KristenWhiteTV.com, and guess what you'll find there? An extended interview, more than 15 minutes long, about all of the extra wisdom that we just couldn't even fit into the show. So go to Kristen White TV online, look up your expert's name, and learn everything else that they had to contribute that we simply couldn't fit into the show. See you on the website. Sometimes in your life, the unexpected can happen. You may find yourself diagnosed with a chronic illness. So how do you find your way around all of the pain and the frustration that comes along with no longer being in that vital state of health? Well, my guest today is Dr. Julianne Blake, and she's here to help us come up with solutions to move through the pain and connect with our joy. Dr. Blake, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Kristen.
So, what happens to people when they find out that I'm diagnosed with something?
A lot of people with pain and chronic illness just get really discouraged, and they tend to withdraw. They might be angry or depressed, but definitely discouraged. And they give up in a way. They give up a lot. Not everyone, but withdraw and sort of they feel very disempowered by the medical profession. They're usually told, well, there's no hope, it's incurable. You might be fine for a while, but prepare to get worse. That's what I was told, actually. And
prepare to get
it's
worse.
Devastating, yes. Prepare to get worse.
So tell me a little bit about your own story. You have an incredibly inspiring story.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, when I was 40. And I had just gotten my doctorate, and I was a dancer. I paid my way through graduate school dancing. That's what I loved. And so all of a sudden I was falling down for no reason. And I didn't know what was wrong. I just cried. And I got told I had MS, and that was the doctor that said, oh, you can live a long, healthy life with MS. But, it's incurable, and get ready to be in a wheelchair. And I just was heartbroken, especially because I didn't think I could dance ever again. I was hardly walking. And I finally realized after just a few years of being discouraged and depressed and in despair, that I couldn't live like that. I needed to find a way to be happy and to dance however I could and to get on with my life and my work. So I have, and it's just wonderful. So now it's my mission to help other women, especially anybody with illness. I work with people with cancer, fibromyalgia, arthritis, the whole 9 yards, and to help them find their joy and their passion and their reason for being alive.
It is so inspiring to hear your story, and I also think about friends that I have, people I know who one day find out, you have cancer, you have MS, you have, an inoperable circumstance. And then suddenly it's just their whole life, from the morning they wake up until they go to bed at night, they're dealing with pain. What would you say to them?
Oh, they're also dealing with a lot of fear, and between the pain and the fear, they become inoperable.
Right.
But you know what? It just doesn't have to be that way. We have immense, immense power. Our bodies are made to be healing, self-healing organisms, and our unconscious, our inner child, our imagination, whatever you want to call it. It's our spirit too, of course, is immensely powerful. And when we access that power that we have to heal, we're amazing. The stories that I've heard, I'm writing a new book, so I'm actually interviewing people who've had amazing healings that they've done themselves. We are so powerful. I want everyone to know that they don't have to give up and they don't have to take on the attitude of their doctors at all, because we can make miracles, every one of us, and they just need to know how to access that and overcome their limitations.
So I'm looking at you, and you look radiant. I mean, you're smiling, you're joyful, and you've had MS now for
28 years.
28 years.
I'm supposed to be in a wheelchair. I was supposed to have ramps on all my doors of my house. They told me to do that 7 houses ago. And I'm not going to until I really need it.
So what is the key? What's the key? How are you unlocking this joyful attitude?
Well, there are a number of things that I think are really important. And the first one is for everyone to start with their intention. And that, by that I mean, why are they alive? What do they really want? What are they passionate about? What are they here to do? What do they care about?
Do we forget that when we get sick sometimes?
We do. I think we forget that a lot of times.
Even if we're not sick.
Because some of the actual very, very ill people I know who've had amazing comebacks actually say that that's part of what happened to them, is that they really reviewed their lives and they really came to a completely new understanding of what they're here to do and what matters to them. Mm-hmm. And they see life completely differently.
Well, Dr. Julianne Blake, I am grateful for you being here on the show with me and being part of the ripple effect for others who are finding joy inside their chronic conditions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Love being here.
Just ahead, learn how to ride the big wave of cancer with author and cancer survivor, Meg Stafford.
It can be incredibly scary when you or someone you love is diagnosed with cancer. Well, my guest today is an author and an expert and someone who's personally experienced that journey. Her name is Meg Stafford. Meg, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kristen. Happy to be here.
Tell me about when you learned that you were going to battle cancer.
It was, that moment particularly was certainly one of the most difficult moments of my life. Even though there is part of me that had anticipated it, because it doesn't drop out of the sky. There are tests leading up to it, and so you know that it's a strong possibility, even if there is a part of you that is hoping that it's not going to be true. So it's a really tough moment. I was fortunate that for me it was paired with the fact that there was a really positive prognosis. But it still meant that there was a big stretch of journey that was unknown and that was going to be difficult, and I didn't know exactly what it was or what it was going to entail, but that it was going to require a bunch of treatment. So that was
in that moment that you heard the news. What was going through your mind?
It's hard to get back there, even partly because I was at work. And so I had to, besides the sinking pit in your stomach, I had to collect myself and work with a couple more clients before I came home. But it's for me, it was really important to hang on to that notion that it was going to be okay, whatever it was. So, and like everything else, that I would have to take it one step at a time, and whatever it was, slow it down so that I could make informed decisions about whatever I was doing, and get through it as best I could.
Now, you've written a book about your journey, and I absolutely love the cover. So will you share with us a little bit about your book?
Sure. So it's called Topic of Cancer, Riding the Waves of the Big C. And that is me on the cover a month after I had finished all my treatment. So my older daughter had gone to Peru for a fieldwork term in college, and I went down to visit her. We went to Machu Picchu, which was a lifelong dream, tremendous amount of desert. So they took us to the place where there are just open sand dunes, and we literally hiked up the dunes with our snowboards that they had brought down from New England, and you'd strap them onto your feet and your shorts and tank top and slide down the dunes. So it was really fun, and you can't turn very much, so whatever way you're going, that's the way you're going, and you try not to fall because you have a lot of sunscreen on and you'd be just covered in sand. So it was a very fun time.
What is the role of adventure and fun for someone who is going through a journey with cancer or really any illness for that matter?
It's certainly important for me. I do think it's important for anybody, and to be able to bring it into your life or to keep it into your life as much as you can at any point, including during treatment. And actually one very powerful moment for me was when a friend and colleague of mine who had been through treatment a few years earlier came over, and she brought a few pictures with her. And one of the pictures that she had was of she and her dad facing each other, both with bald heads, and they both had huge grins on their faces. And that moment, it just coalesced that there were lots of really difficult moments, a lot of painful moments, a lot of sad times, but there was also a lot of fun, because there just was fun in my life during different periods. So it doesn't have to mean that it's all sad and doom and gloom.
What would you say to someone, someone's watching, cancer, the numbers are out there. People are getting diagnosed all the time. What would your message be to someone who's either just found out that they have cancer or they're still going through that process?
I would say, remember that you can do it, that it is a one step at a time kind of thing, and that it's very individual. It's that what the choices that I made at that time were what were right for me at that time in my life. For someone else, it would mean different choices depending on where you live, what kind of support you have, what age you are. My own choices might be different if it were a few years from now. But that it's important to allow other people in. That was a big takeaway for me, because I'm someone who likes to do things by myself. I'd be dragging the laundry down the stairs by myself or doing whatever I can. But it was important. There were times when I couldn't drive and I had to let people help. So that was really important.
Were there any particular lessons that really stand out in your mind, or points that just resonate with you still today?
I say the quickest way out is through. Right. To let it in and let it through. As much as you can express it and let it out, the less that it sticks with you. And the writing of the book, for me, was a great tool, because I could get it out of my system. It also was a way to let other people in, because some people responded, and it became a shared journey, so that I never felt really alone, even though I was the one going through treatment at the time.
Meg Stafford, someone who clearly embraces your life 100%. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
That's
you.
been great.
You may not realize it, but the words you say, both spoken aloud and inside, well, they have power. Hi, I'm here in Sedona, Arizona, and I'm launching my series, Spirituality Boot Camp, from here in this beautiful canyon. And what we're talking about is the 7 principles of spiritual practice. And the next principle is affirmation. What are affirmations? Affirmations are spoken words. They're statements about who we are inside the world that we live in. We may not realize it, but we make these statements both inside ourselves, is like the everyday chatter that goes on inside our lives, and also the things that we say out loud. So for this principle, I invite you to pay attention to the words that you say to yourself on an everyday basis. We see they have power, and they directly impact the reality that we experience inside our lives. So here's the exercise. Pay attention to the words that you say to yourself and the words that you think in your head. And keep a journal. Do it for at least a couple of days or even a week. You'll quickly see a pattern in the language and the affirmations that you say to yourself on a daily basis. You know, your heart is the strongest muscle within you. You'll get results when you say kind words to yourself through affirmations with Spirituality Boot Camp.
Coming up next, get naturally fit with holistic fitness expert Kimberly Johnson.
Welcome back to A Minute to Fitness, guys. I'm so excited. We're gonna do an around the world plank today. I bet you've never done that before. That'll tighten our core, it'll work our arms, and we'll have a lot of fun doing it. So it'll never be a boring plank for you guys. Let's get started. So in the plank position, we're gonna start out with Superwoman or Superman. And we wanna bring our hands back to our shoulders, fingers face forward. We're gonna go into a push-up, keep the elbows tight. Come back up on your feet. And we're working the transverse abdominis here, which is the core. We're also working our arms, obviously, by holding this position. We're gonna go into an around the world plank. So it's just a little bit of something different. We're holding the front plank, and then we're gonna go to the side and reach up and look up to the ceiling. Beautiful, we're holding this for 20 seconds. Just holding, you wanna make sure you have alignment here with your body. You can stack your feet or put one in front of the other like I have. Either way is fine. Now we're gonna go to the back. So a reverse plank is what this is called. The most important thing here is make sure that those fingertips are facing your body and not to the side or the back. Keep the butt up. Keep that line going from your shoulder to your hips. And just hold this for 20 seconds. And you guys can work up to this. Sometimes 20 seconds feels like a long time in a plank. All right, now we're gonna bring it down and hit the other side. And you're looking up at the ceiling in your side plank. Sorry, cross over. Good, guys. Planks are hard for everybody, no matter how many you've done. So your body's shaking a little bit, and that's okay. So we're burning fat when we're shaking. All right, let's just hold it. Good, belly button in tight. Everything is aligned, beautiful. Bring it down, back to the center at the front. Thanks for planking with me, guys. Once you kind of get into the minutes, it's gonna create a ripple effect for you, and you're gonna love your body even more. Thanks for joining me. Email me with your situation.
Thanks for joining me this week on The Ripple Effect. I'm your host, Kristen White. If something you saw here today inspired you, I invite you to take action. I believe that it's only one word, one thought, one idea that's enough to create transformation in your life. I'll see you next week here on The Ripple Effect.